Okay, now to finish up this particular document and this particular project, we're going to bring in this nice little shape and some text for us to work with. So this is going to be our first introduction to shapes and also to working with type. And we're also going to work with a little bit of opacity, and we're going to work with other different kind of effects that we can put around text. You can see a nice, cool little effect there. So what are we going to do? We are going to just draw out a very basic shape. So how do we work with shapes? Shapes are very powerful in Photoshop and any kind of graphic design because it's really designed to frame things, right? It's really designed for you to kind of really call attention to something, make it stand out, and this provides a nice little background for our items. So where are we going to find our shapes? You can see over here in the left-hand side, there should be a little rectangle icon for us to work with. If you right click on that, you're going to see that, oh, there's a rectangle. There's all kinds of other shapes that we can do. For our purposes right now, we're just going to choose rectangle. And you will see that there are different colors that we can then apply when we draw out our shapes. So our colors can be activated in a number of different ways. You will see here that there is this little color, it's the foreground color, and this is going to be the background color. Primarily, we're going to be working with the foreground color. That's going to be the important part of it. You'll also notice that over here in the upper left is our fill color, just the same. So you can access it in one of two ways. So you'll also note that when I draw something out, am I going to be drawing out a shape, a path, or pixels? These two are going to be a little bit more advanced. So let's make sure that we are drawing out, in fact, a shape. And what color shape am I going to do? Well, that's up to me. So how do I access all of my colors? I'm just going to simply click once on this little square, and you will see that it's going to take me to this amazing color picker where I can then choose any color I want from here. We've seen a few exercises already on this. I can go to my blacks down here, my whites up here, and then really anything in between by clicking here, 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 and then anything within that spectrum. Now, some of you might know exactly what color you want to apply. So you'll see how there's our RGB over here on the right-hand side. There's also your CMYK. So your design team might say, hey, listen, we need to use our company colors, so please put in our RGB value of 65723. Cool. Damn, bam, type that in. Wonderful. Or our CMYK, bam, type that in, whatever you want to do. Okay, you'll also note that there is the HSB, your hue, your saturation, and your brightness. So notice how I just click and drag going across right now. The saturation of that color then changes. Saturation just basically means the level of color in a thing, right? So how saturated is that going to be? Is it going to be a very, very colorful red or a less colorful red? So no saturation basically means black and white or grayscale. Okay, our hue, notice how the hue now changes. Essentially, we're just going from blue to red to green, and then brightness, as what you'd expect, right? It's going to make it, whatever that color is, just a brighter version of that color, if you wanted to control all that. Okay, so up to you. Now, you'll also see that I have a little eyedropper that appears. When I move my mouse off of the color picker, I can actually choose from my canvas a color that I want. Notice I'm choosing the blue, it changes to blue. I'm going to go to this little green, it's going to change to whatever his little scaly brown color is. Okay, great. I can go to my flying saucer, a little more gray. Fantastic, wonderful. Okay, so I have all the options in the world for colors. So I'm just going to choose black. Great, I click OK. And now, very simply, I'm going to click and drag. And notice I'm clicking and drag starting off of the canvas, just to make sure, in case I want to have zero bleed like that. So it just goes right off the edge. That's great. And I can go back to my move tool to then resize it accordingly. And then I click the checkbox. I can move it wherever I want. And that's amazing. It's all set, ready to go. Now, if we go back to our original document, you'll be able to see that I have a little bit of transparency here. So how do I do that? If I click back on the shape, I want you to see here that I have this new layer called rectangle, and we have this section here called opacity that I can now affect the opacity of that. We did an exercise on that with our ram earlier on, we're able to actually have our ram or iceberg a little more see-through. So we'll do the same thing now with our shape, and we'll see, oh, that's kind of cool. So I can make this a little more see-through, so I can see through that shape. So it gives a little bit of dimensionality, a little more kind of visual interest, if you will. All right. Now, your next question might be, well, what if I want to change the color of this rectangle? All right. What if I want to make this transparency, but I want to actually make it a different color of transparency? If you double click on the shape itself, right? Notice what I did here. So you mean not on the shape, but on the actual thumbnail, right? You want to actually double click on this right there. It's going to take you back to your color picker. Amazing. Look at that. And I can now change that to red and do whatever I want to do. Okay. So double clicking on the thumbnail in the layer panel brings you right back to your color picker. Okay. Nice little pro tip there. You'll also see that there is a properties panel that also gives you some other options as well, if you want to experiment with that. Okay. So your properties panel, you should have that open from when we first started. So if you click on the fill, click on that, and then you click on that guy, that takes you to the same exact thing. All right, so totally up to you. Some of you might be more comfortable with the properties panel at this point, or you're more comfortable with the layers panel. So now I have that color. I'll maybe bring that down to a kind of a darker color. Let's just bring this down, and wonderful. Now I'm done. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, have you practice working with our shapes, our transparency, working with color, and then changing the color. When we come back, we'll do a quick little introduction to how we can work with type.